There has been a lot of speculation surrounding the Eagles' defensive end group this past offseason, and rightly so. They let Vinny Curry walk into free agency, and if we compare the group to 2017, where you had names like Chris Long and Michael Bennett filling out those depth roles, they don't have that experience there any longer. So it was assumed that the team would head into the NFL draft and maybe take an edge rusher in the heart of it, but even that didn't happen, and instead the Eagles drafted Casey Toohill in the 7th round, and that's absolutely fine, but there is anything but stability at the position, which has led me to wonder, why haven't the Eagles taken a veteran from free agency yet? Why haven't they looked to really fill out that positional group? And one solution may just be they're either A, waiting for later in the offseason for the price to come down, or B, they're confident in a couple of guys, and we're going to explore 2 of those players in today's video. As always though, if you are new around this channel, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch our content. If you enjoy it, if you could hit that big red button and subscribe, we are so close to our goal of 20,000, and we would love for you to be part of our communities. If you are already subscribed, you already know we adore you, and I promise we've got some exciting things lined up to thank you for your support in such a trying time. And if you're not already, you can get your daily dose of Philadelphia sports coverage from myself and all of our writers over at phillysportsnetwork.com. So the first player we need to look at here is Shareef Miller, a man who, believe it or not, was actually selected with a 4th round pick 1 year ago, but bizarrely saw 2 special team snaps all season. That's it. Now, part of that was intentional because he wasn't really ready to make the leap to the NFL level right away and was always seen as a project. You may remember our film room on Miller not too long ago, where we stated that outside of the ball rush, which is fairly impressive, he doesn't have many tools in his arsenal. He's not a versatile defensive end. He doesn't have a lot of weaponry outside of that ball rush. So if that doesn't work, he can often end up looking a bit ineffective. He entered the NFL as a relatively one-trick pony, and preseason highlighted that. What really didn't help was the emergence of Deshawn Hall at the time, who obviously blew up, stole the spotlight in preseason, and in result earned himself a spot on the roster ahead of Shareef Miller in the pecking order. The Eagles then parted ways with defensive line coach Philip Daniels this past offseason, which may or may not be a sign of how Miller's first NFL year in terms of development went. The Eagles also cut ways with guys like Carson Walsh, who was responsible for JJ Arcega-Whiteside's development as a rookie, as well as bringing in a new coach at defensive back after a secondary has been leaking yardage for several years now. So I don't know whether all of those things correlate or not, but it may be worth mentioning that going into a shortened offseason where there is no OTA period for Miller to refine his craft and really work on those technical holes in his game, that this may not be the most ideal situation. It's not really that fair to compare Shareef Miller and Josh Sweat, but they were both 4th round picks, and although Josh Sweat for the most part as a rookie saw the same kind of treatment where he didn't really see the field, he did see NFL action. Most of his snaps did come against the Saints in a blowout loss, but he saw the field. Miller didn't, and that is a little bit concerning. Now, Miller's been very confident about himself. He went onto Twitter recently to guarantee 10 sacks in a season, which, hey, look, if the Eagles echo that confidence, it really does explain why they haven't added to the position. The team, as it stands right now, will need a big step up from Shareef Miller. If they haven't added a veteran, if they haven't brought back someone like Vinny Curry, then surely it has to be a sign that they, like Miller, are confident in his abilities to develop. Now, there is a lot to like on tape. He is fast, he's quite explosive off the line of scrimmage, but again, he just seemed quite marginalised coming out of Penn State. And the trouble for us as fans or analysts now is that we don't have a plethora of all 22 to go through where he's had in-game action like we have with Josh Sweat. We can't see that development. So it is very much behind closed doors, and it might be that Miller could be on the horizon of a breakout like no other, or becoming a rotational defensive end in this system. But as things stand, it's a total wild card. We really don't know what work has been done behind the scenes, but it might be a vote of confidence that the Eagles haven't added a veteran to the room just yet. Talking of wild cards, the other one here is of course Central Michigan's Joe Osmond, who signed as an undrafted free agent back in 2018 and went on to have an electric preseason, stacking 9 tackles. At 6'3", 259 pounds, Osmond had 45.5 tackles for a loss and 26 sacks during his collegiate career, and his development on the practice squad left the coaching staff purring. He emulated names like JJ Watt and Khalil Mack on the scout team as a rookie, leaving many to expect a big jump in year 2. that jump at least started to take place. Osmond was explosive all through the OTA and training camp period until an ACL tear ripped the carpet from under his feet. With a new defensive line coach in town, it will be very intriguing to see if Osmond can pick up where he left off when training camp does open. The Eagles are high on him. They have been for 2 years now, and another strong offseason could be all it takes for him to make that final 53-man roster. With Miller and Osmond providing two really interesting entries going into that Edge 4 challenge, it's really bizarre to see that the Eagles still haven't signed a veteran, because there is no back body of work to fall on to say, hey, he showed this last year. We don't know that with any of these players. There's no Vinny Curry, no experience, not a single NFL snap between the two candidates who are looking to compete for that role. So either the Birds are waiting until later in the proceedings to sign a cheap vet or bring home Vinny Curry, or they're showcasing a wealth of confidence in unproven talents and the development traits of a coach in Matt Burke, who has been around Jim Schwartz for so long he knows exactly what he's after from his defensive linemen. These talents may well have been shining behind closed doors, or it's been kept behind closed doors because they haven't been shining. There's only one way we find out, and that is to see how they look in the summer when training camp opens. But I wanted to highlight this position to see just how intriguing this is, because I do believe the Eagles are either going to be going full send on the youth movement, knowing that Derek Barnett's contract is going to get very expensive very quickly, and that Brandon Graham isn't getting any younger. Josh Sweat will now be entering a couple of important years. The Eagles have to find some stability here. It might be the time they're trying to pass the baton to those younger defensive ends. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. From myself, Liam Jenkins, as always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. We'll see you again soon.